Okay, so last time we spoke about invitation and consent, right? So we're sort of, even though we're practicing it through movement and our felt sense and our bodily practice, we're sort of starting to open up to how do you create spaces, how do you provide or find or work with conditions that allow for dance. In a lot of ways, it is the word, the using of the word, right? Like when we create a workshop, when we create a performance, when we create a social gathering, we use the word dance, and it provides everyone a relationship to, an invitation, to be in that dancing because we all have a relationship to dance, at least in some way, right? Like, as long as we know the word, we have an understanding, and that understanding is already providing some sort of practice in dance, that quality of what you think it is, what it could be, what is allowed, what is accessible, what is possible, is there. And in the different dance spaces we work, we specify even further, it's this kind of dance, this is how we do the dance, in order to do a type of dancing which is important or valuable for us, or it feels safe. So actually today we're going to look at care, safety and risk, the emotional and physical and social conditions that hold a dance. Because dance isn't only for the stage, it's not only for the dance classroom, it's however we need it to be. And as we enter into these, making specific the places where we can dance, we start to encounter questions of how do we take care of that when it does occur? How do we take care of the dance that is existing, and how do we do it safely? How do we ensure that people are physically safe, and there's no risk to injury, or and then socially, how do we take care and create a safe space socially? So there's a lot involved, right? And care is not the absence of risk, right? It's how risk is held, shared, or ignored, right? This here, we're going to look at, we could avoid safety rules, and instead cultivate a type of responsibility. Like, how do we attend to these things continuously? Because if there's a rule, there's a risk that the rules will only work for a certain type of person, or the people who participated or were able to participate in the creating of the rules at the beginning. So how do we cultivate a space of responsibility in dancing and in the dancing that we do, in the spaces that we practice, even when we're dancing alone? Like, do you warm up? What kind of warm up do you do? Do you clear the space? Do you make the space safe to work in? Do you make sure that you are how you're feeling, like your emotional state? Like, can I dance? Can I do this? Is it going to be safe for me to go into this dancing that I'm practicing and doing? And also the social nature. Like, am I am I neglecting other aspects of my social life in order to dance, or are there the sort of risks there, or am I doing it socially to take care of something? In what way? So they all play a role. So at the beginning, I'd like you to sort of map the edge, move maybe until you reach the limit of your physical, emotional, and attentional limit. and do not cross it, stay there. So have a dance for yourself or with others, and just trying to map where is the edge of your emotional, physical and social, your emotional, physical and attentional edge of your dancing, where risk, safety and care start to show their necessity. Yeah. So have a play with that and see what comes out. Great. It's quite abstract, right? This sort of, what is the edge of physical, emotional and social, right? Like, it's quite an abstract space, but we know what it means. Maybe if now we ask the question in our dancing, are we caring for the dance or the dancer? And what does that mean? So ask, what does this dance need right now? Does it need less intensity, more time, an ending? And have those questions maybe frame, in this dancing, am I caring for the dance or the dancer? When we choreograph on others, these are the questions that really produce the choreography, right? So often it's considered that the choreography is something that is set from the beginning, and then we get the dancer to execute the choreography. But what if we flip the script a little bit and we have the choreography change to what the dancer is able to do, right? So what if our being, our presence of being a dancer within these choreographies that we're experiencing, that we're dealing with, that we're feeling, what if we ask, what does the dance need right now? Really? Does it need less intensity, maybe? More time? Or even an ending? So go and play that with that. Dance the dance that is in the room, that is with you. Dance the choreographies that you're with at this moment. And see if you can care for the dance, not the dancer, or care for the dancer, not the dance. Okay, so you might be thinking or finding that the movement, the dance that you like, is the dance that feels unsafe. You know, that especially when we watch dance, there's a desire to see risk, to see someone challenge themselves beyond what seems safe. However, the work is often how to push oneself towards those extremes but remain safe. So what is this space we're playing in, right? How in your dancing are you managing to feel safe in your body and have unsafe feelings? Like, what role do they play in your dancing? So I'd almost like that now you take a moment to dance again, and explore the power, the meaning, your resonance with unsafety, or with safety, so to speak. What kind of dancing do you find there? And also, if you wish, a lighter version, perhaps, see what parts of your dancing that already exist already involve an element of risk. Yeah? Let's have a go with that. So, what is care? What does it mean to care for something? Because also to care could mean that you limit its freedom, its possibility, what is at stake, you know? It's involved in that ethical question again of how do we engage continuously with what we're doing, what we're articulating. And perhaps one of the things is to end early, right? To stop, to sort of notice the urge to continue, but by stopping, letting that be the choreographic decision, right? That there's always an end, right? There's always a point where we stop, but asking the question why it's there, which also gets into questions of like the duration of dances, the duration of performance, and so on. Like, what's the intention with the duration, the length of the thing, and does it provide a kind of care, and does it offer you prevention or attention or permission or restraint, right? What kind of care is involved in the dancing? So I don't think there's any simple answers. It's a working process, but I think I really wanted to include this in as a place to explore and dance with, because it's so easy to overlook, right? But it's essentially one of the things we're always working with. When we're dancing, we are careful not to trip, not to fall, not to hit ourselves, not to hurt ourselves, not to hurt anyone else. So how could we include that perhaps into our dancing, into our practice? What would a dance of care and safety be about? One that includes an involvement with risk. So now I'd like you to either just stop and end, which of course you've always had the option to do, but now to do a dance which doesn't deal with any risk, that actively works to find the least risk possible. And maybe you've already been there, and a lot of this is outside of where you want your dance to be. When we talk about challenging safety and seeing where the edge of our physical and emotional and attentional spaces are. But now let's draw it back even further, perhaps, and ask, what was the safest type of dance? And it can be still, again, physically, but also emotionally. Like, what is a safety we can feel in our emotional self whilst dancing, and also in our attentional self, in our relationships in our relation to different things? How can we find a safety? And this sort of echoes back to quite a few things we've been doing in the previous workshops around invitation and consent, copying and interpretation, and instruction and authority, right? How can we relate to these bigger structures that we are dancing within, and have a sense of care and safety? And that's where I'm going to leave it now. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you again.